and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have just a quick video going through paper cutters because I don't know if you guys are like me, but I'm having the worst time trying to get a paper trimmer, paper cutter to actually work, and I am so sick and tired of it. I don't have all of the brands here, I just have a few to show you. Most of these, in my personal opinion, do not work, and I am on the hunt for a new one. So I thought I would show you which ones I have, show you why I think that they don't work, or if there's something positive about them, where I'm at now, and what I'm thinking for the future. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Okay, so this is the Kmart paper trimmer. This is my second one of these. It's not bad per se, but it does not do the job that I'm after. I'm not by any means somebody who uses this all the time. I don't use it daily. Oh look, I probably would use it once a week, but not to the extreme of doing 15,000 cuts. I just need it to cut my paper when I want to use it. And when I say I cut, I just want a straight line. I don't want it to be flappy. I don't want it to have little puffy bits at the edges. I just want a straight line, and I want to get it done as quick as possible. And I am a paper crafter who likes to sit down while I craft. So I want something that works with that. Some of the cutters that you saw in the start of the video, they really need you to stand up and use them, not only just to get the cut to be aligned, but more so that you can line it up correctly and get the correct markings. So going back to this Kmart trimmer, the reasons why I do not like the Kmart trimmer are, firstly, this is the pull-out mechanism. The pull-out mechanism works fine. I've just got the mark here to show where this is 3 3/4, the mark here, and then I have a dot here to indicate where the 3 mark is, because for the life of me I could not work it out. This is for inches. But the reason that this fails me is because this doesn't go straight. It's actually on an angle. So when I lay this down here, if it was to be straight, it needs to sit about there. So when you open this up, you open it up thinking, okay, that's straight. And I think it's showing on video, it's just slightly off. So if you rely on this, your angles are not going to be symmetrical. So then not only do you have to remember to not push it all the way, you've got to keep it in line with this line here. The reason it fails is purely because of this. This is the cutter. I've got a few bits of paper here. I'm hoping that it shows up on camera. So this is just a 6x6 page that I have. We're going to play around with this, and we're going to use this trimmer to cut these sections down, and let's see what happens when we do that. So this first one, it actually didn't cut too bad, but can you see the fuzzies? It also didn't cut through up the top. So let's move on to this line here, and we'll try again, starting from the top down. This one cut through, but once again, fuzzies. And I don't understand why. At first I thought it was me, or it was the paper. Then I was reading some comments on one of the Facebook groups I'm in, and they were saying that on humid days the paper gets some moisture, and when the paper has the moisture in it, that's when these cutters don't work. So then I started to think, okay, well what I will do is I just won't cut on a day where I've got my evaporative cooling on, or a day where it's a bit humid. Problem being is I'm in Australia, and these days aren't predictable. 1 minute it is going to be 16 degrees and the next minute it's going to be 36 degrees. We just don't know. So I can't live my life only using a trimmer when it is not humid. So with this one, because this one's only a little bit fuzzy, let's try to chop this down here. We'll give it one more try. And we finally, out of the third cut, have a cut in which isn't fuzzy, and I would say is actually pretty good. This paper is really light. It's not thick paper at all. It's very flimsy. It's kind of like a copy paper. So let's try this with a thicker paper. So I'm just going to use some scrap black paper that I have. I've been working on a project, and on that project I've been using this paper. I solely used this Kmart trimmer to cut this. So this is why I've decided now I just can't continue to use it. All of my black edges have got fluffies, or they've got some rips in them, and it's just taken me a lot longer to work on the project than it should have. So let's try this one. So you can kind of see them there. It's not, I mean, this cut isn't actually too bad, but here, Let's see if it shows up. You can see a little bit of the fuzzies. Once again, this cut isn't too bad considering some of the other pieces I have actually had whilst working on my project. This one here, you can see just a little bit more of those paper fuzzies. Just there. So, if you're doing just a few cuts, this isn't that bad. But if you're going to work on a project which is going to be paper based and you're going to do a lot of cuts, this will fail you. It's $11. As I said, this is my second one because I thought I would give it a go again thinking it was me. I don't want a paper trimmer that's going to give me the fuzzies. I just don't. I've had to scratch off so many of them and not use certain papers. I've got a couple here I can show you. This is what I mean. So I get that this is close to the edge, but a paper trimmer should not do this. So let's move on to the next one. The next one that I purchased after that Kmart one was this one here. And this is a We Are Memory Keepers Guillotine mini cutter. Now this works fine. It lifts up. It does cut. This does come off. However, it is just a plastic. It doesn't have a push down. It just sits here and just wobbles around. This isn't too bad. The reason I'm not necessarily a fan of this is, for the life of me, my lines are never ever straight. I got this one because I started doing cards a lot and I thought, well, the 6 inches is perfect. I'm going to shrink everything down to either the 4 or the 5 inches anyway, and we can go from there. I don't need to have one of those big ones. It's going to be perfect. So with this, I can't fit this in to get a short line. If I wanted to get, let's say this is 7/8 just here. I've got to try to figure out where that's going to sit. And then we can get our chop. No real fuzzies, which is great. And then we have this piece of paper here. To give you an example, let's use this piece of paper. So this is another one that I've been cutting as part of my project. As you can see, I've got all of those fuzzies everywhere. I'm going to line it up to the 3 inches. And it really doesn't cut bad, but this is not straight. It has a bend in it, and I can't work out why. I know that it doesn't help that I didn't cut this on a straight line. I'm going to do it again, basing it on that straight line, just to give you a better example of what I mean. So I lined that up, and I don't know if it is showing up on camera or not, but it isn't straight. There's just the tiniest little bow here, and every time I'm working on something, I just can't get the lines to be straight. I end up taking up too much of my product to actually validate the cost of this. So this one here retails for, I think I got this one on sale for maybe $40, but I do think when it's not on sale it retails for about $50 to $55 in Australia. I don't know, it could be user error, but I'm really not that impressed with this. For convenience, the fact that it is little, if I am doing just some little cuts where I just want to get those fuzzies off, I really don't like how much this comes out. As I said, I can hold it here, but this does move. It doesn't really feel like it's the most stablest of mechanisms. And I wanted to show you guys down here too. So if I move this down, so let's say I need to go all the way. We're going all the way to the edge here. So we're going all the way to this section just here. Let's see if it does it. It did it to me when I was working during the week. Okay, that one's cut okay. But, I mean, I know that I'm down at the edge and I'm being really nitpicky here. But I don't know, it just isn't doing what I want it to do. So this one I'm a maybe for. If you like a guillotine, if you only want to work on 6x6, this isn't too bad. Mostly I'm nitpicking, but when I do get the bubbles in my cut, it does annoy the crap out of me. So I couldn't recommend this to somebody, but it's definitely not the worst one I've ever used. So moving on to the next one, I thought that I would be a smarty pants, and I have wanted a 12x12 scoreboard for a really long time. So I thought, okay, I am a fan of We Are Memory Keepers. I looked at reviews, I watched demos and videos and everything else like that, and I thought this one looks great. It came with a spare blade up here. It comes with the scoreboard. I'll just flip it around. It folds so that you don't have to have it take up that much space while you're storing it. So for storage purposes, it's great. And then it flips back up. And you have your full 12 by 12 board. I thought this would be perfect. If I'm having that issue with the Kmart cut trimmer where it's not lining up straight against here, at least I have this here, which is going to keep the paper straight the whole way. This would have to be by far the worst paper trimmer I have ever used in my life. This is the second blade here. I only got maybe 3 or 4 cuts out of this blade that was the original blade before I had to change it because I was getting so many fuzzies. It was ripping my paper. It wasn't a good time. My house was not a happy place to be because of how much drama I went through with this particular cutting device. So getting some of this thicker cardstock, we're going to have a test drive. So once again, the line doesn't come all the way up, which I do understand. This has to go down, so you can't have it go the whole way, but it is uber annoying for those type of cuts. So we're going to hold this down. It's got magnetic closures here and at the bottom, but I can still move my paper. So you still have to hold it. So let's say I want this to be 1.5. Let's have a look. This should not happen. This blade is not that old because I haven't had it that long. I should be able to cut my paper without having this happen. Whether it be this thicker cardstock, whether it be thinner cardstock, the blades on this We Are Memory Keepers trimmer always does this. As I said, this is the second blade. It's the second time it's happened. I am royally done. It just annoys me. For the price that this is, once again, I got this one on sale. This was off Amazon and it was $50 Australian. I expected so much more. I expected so much more from the brand, so much more from this product. I could not recommend this to somebody at all. Even for the purpose of this scoring board, I couldn't recommend it to people because of this join. I do not know how people are able to score on this, because if I need to score at half, it's never straight because of the join. There is not a score line where that join is, which is fine. It bounces and it's just, it will get the job done. Would I pay the price for it? No. If you were to get this at a garage sale for $5, sure, why not? But there are better scoreboards out there that are cheaper, that do multiple things, that just do scoring. This big boy. So this one I recently purchased from Cras Online. I haven't played around with it too much. I will admit I'm kind of intimidated because of this chopper here. So to give you kind of a view, it is sharp. The reason why I am also just a little bit apprehensive about this is, for the life of me, I can't get things to line up. I think this one is more of a user error though. My eyes are drawn to this particular ruler here, which does mimic the little lines that are up the top. But these little lines, because they are also in the grey, are very hard to see. This is the one that I was talking about, in which I feel that you need to be standing up in order to use it. If I was cutting many pages, so if I had 15 of these to use, it would make sense to stand up and do it because I'm going to need the weight behind it. But when I'm just using one piece of paper, I don't want to have to necessarily do that. My room doesn't really allow me to stand up a lot of the time. So to be able to view those, I either have to turn it upside down and then I'm using my left hand to do the chopping, or I have to get in really, really close, hold this up, be paranoid that it's going to bite me, work out where I want this chop to go. This has got springs in it, so this is spring loaded. This is something that I've only just figured out with this, because I kept wondering why my cuts weren't cutting properly, and it's because I was holding it down, not realizing I had to actually hold it down. And then we're going to cut. For the cut purposes, it is perfect. There is not a problem with it. It has cut this as I would expect any trimmer to cut it. There is no fuzzies like what we got from the We Are Memory Keepers. It cuts fine. It's just that You can't rely on this all the time because your paper is going to be taking it up. And also with the other cutters, we're kind of trained to use the markings up the top, not here. If I want to use something that's this little, I do have to use these markings here because this starts at the number 3. So this starts at 3 centimeters and we don't get a number on here until 2 inches. So it's a lot of space in which I don't have any numbering. But if you do hold this down properly and then you do cut, it does cut really well. This is a Universal Crafts Guillotine trimmer, and I think that this retails for about $30. As I said, it cuts perfectly. I cannot fault it on its cutting. The more practice I have with it, the more that I think I will like it. It's big, it's bulky. That is a bit frustrating. And as I said, for those quick little cuts that I need to do I really want to be getting out something that is this big? I don't know. And lastly, where do we end today? So today I have gone out and I have purchased this new trimmer, and this is, if it will show up on camera, this is a Cricut trimmer. I have watched a few people on YouTube and trying to get an idea of what trimmers they use, that are within my budget, and just working out what I can either afford right now or what I think will work for me and how I like to work. Is this the one that I wanted? No. I settled for this one because it was on sale, and I had also watched a few reviews on it, so I was happy with what I was purchasing, but it's not the one that I would have chosen to bring into my collection to see if I liked it. The ones that I were considering are the Dress My Crafts, in which has the cutter and the scorer, and I was also looking at the rotary paper trimmers because I've seen a lot of reviews in which those ones, the blades last a lot longer because of the design of them. But the Friskers one that we have available at our Spotlight stores, they are selling for about $65, and given how much I've already spent on trimmers, I just can't justify that kind of price only to have it disappoint me. So given that I had seen a few reviews on this, given that this particular one was on sale, I thought, let's give it a go. So with this one, as I said, I have not had a chance to play with it yet, but this clips in. That was such a satisfying click. It is straight. I love that. I can read the numbers. I love that. This is nice and big. This works pretty good. The thing I like most about this one, that lifts up. It is so annoying with the Kmart one how this doesn't move, so I can't get the lines correct. I can't get things lined up where they need to be. So while I'm on camera, let's test this one out for the first time and let's see how we go. So this one here, I can see that I'm going to have a few issues. No, so this one here, I like how it's been set up. This here is 1 centimeter, just there. This is 1 inch. What they've done is they've given you 1 inch over here, half an inch here. It mimics it. So if I want half an inch, I don't have to kind of go this way like I was where my numbers are covered and things like that. I can come at it from the other end. This is really helpful if you are a lefty, then that way you've got your choice of where you want to go. I also like that it has these rivets because I find that even more helpful to line up. It's lined up on your inches and half inches, but in crafting I find working with inches is a lot more easier until people start getting into the 7/8 and the 16ths and going that far up. I don't know how you guys can do it. Centimeters does make those kind of things a lot easier to work out. But for the large majority of projects that I work on, I have found that inches do make it better. So for this one, we're going to go for half inch. I'm going to come in from the right hand side to the left. I'm going to line it up with this line as well so that I know that I'm straight. Cool. It is lined up there. Ooh, that was nice. Perfect cut. I'm going to do it from this side here as well. So this one I'm going to line up on half of an inch. I'm going to do it from the top down using that line again to help me. That is nice. That is a nice blade, that one. I like that a lot. There is no fuzzies on this whatsoever. There's not even an inkling that there is going to be fuzzies on this. It is straight. That's really, really nice. So far, as I said, that's the first cut I've done on this. I liked this when I played around with that, but this blade is really, really nice. The back of the trimmer does contain 2 spaces in order to store your spare blades, but this cut really well. This blade is really, really nice. I like the fact that it's also compact. To compare it to me cutting all of them so far, this was the smoothest cut out of all of them. I did expect that compared to the Kmart one and the We Are Memory Keepers, but I wasn't sure how it would compare to the Guillotine cut. But the Guillotine cut, it feels different. To those who have used a Guillotine versus one of these, you know what I'm talking about when I say that it feels different when you cut paper on those. But for the purposes of this, I'm still working on the project. I haven't finished working on that project that I was having the trouble with, where I was getting all of these fuzzies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cutter for the rest of my project, see how we go, make sure I don't get any of these fuzzies, and I will pop a comment below and let you know how I went after giving this a big test run. But so far I'm impressed with this Cricut trimmer. This is currently on sale at Spotlight if you are a member. This isn't sponsored, but this was down to, I believe, $24, and that's probably one of the best prices I've seen for it. Some of the other places were a bit cheaper, but then you had to pay shipping. It worked out to be either the same price or more expensive. But thanks guys, that's where I'm going to wrap up. Hopefully you enjoyed this and you found it useful. I have been having the biggest struggle trying to find a paper trimmer that I not only like but that actually works, and as I said, all I'm after is a straight line. I don't think that's a lot to ask, but I don't want to spend any more money than what I have to in order to get it. Let's see how this Cricut one goes, and I will pin a comment below and let you know. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.